Poppy Miller.
Hello, guys. How are you? Hi, John.
Poppy Miller. All right. So now I have to go ahead and promote the fact that you're here. And so I'm going to ask while I'm typing, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was so lovely. Thank you. I actually went into New York City, which I don't know. By the way, I'm so sorry about my camera. I'll just give you a preview. I don't know why it looks so blurry. I've put my England shirt on and everything, and it's making me a bit dizzy looking at how
So,
it is.
but
So
you've got the good fuzzy lighting with the tree and the three lions and everything. So no, that's good.
I tried my hardest, but I know it's going to make everyone feel a bit. I don't know what is going on with my laptop, so I'll turn it off for now. But thank
No. You got to keep the camera on. We have to see the Christmas lights. We have to see the fuzzy Three Lions jersey. No, you can't see this.
It looks a bit holographic. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm going to have a look at my camera settings in a second.
I think it's just the soft lighting of the room. I think that's what it is.
But Thanksgiving was great. I went to New York and went to the Macy's parade, which I'm not sure if that is complete madness, which it was when I got there. So we managed to see a couple of floats from about 1,000 miles away in a very crowded area. So now I've been there, done that. It was a lot of fun. But today is the day, though, that I've been looking forward to all week, honestly, even since the World Cup draw came out. So today feels like the special occasion, not yesterday for me.
Well, okay, so let's lay this all out, and this is what we've been talking about in the first. This is the first half hour of the show. We were wondering about concerns, predictions. I went through the whole TV open thing where, like when a game starts and play-by-play in color, they're in the booth, and then you have the players that are in focus and the spot shadow and everything. Let's lay this all out. Who, if you and I were calling the game from the booth, we have the title card come up, matches going on. Who would be your players that you're focused on for both the U.S. men's national team and for England?
Oh, I think that, well, for England, honestly, I feel like we're all a bit too excited after their last result, aren't we? Against Iran with the 6-2 win. And for me, it was all the attacking players that stood out. However, I will say Harry Maguire in that game for me was amazing. And especially in attack, he could have had 2 or 3 goals. He must be the most unlucky footballer sometimes at both ends of the pitch. So he's always one that I'm watching because he gets so much criticism in England, so much criticism for Man United. And then when the roster came out as well, it was like he was the name that everybody was talking about. So he stands out to me. And I just hope that today is for all the right reasons. But then I think that it has to be the attack for England. Harry Kane, Saka, Sterling, Rashford, Grealish. I mean, there's so many players that can make an impact off the bench, on the bench. But I think as well, Jude Bellingham was one that in the last game really stood out. He's the only player that doesn't play in the Premier League that's on this roster for England, and he was just fantastic. I love watching him play in Champions League, so I was excited to see him as part of the squad. And as you can tell, I'm very excited about England. We do this every year, don't we? We get really excited, and then something happens. So yeah, that's definitely the England side. Then for the US, I feel like I got really criticized for saying this, but I still stand by it. I feel like a lot of the time they play like an under 23 team. And I know that they're a very young side and they, have so much experience yet to gain, but you just truly never know what you're going to get from them. I think, Tyler Adams for me is the Tyler Adams and Anthony Robinson are the two that really stand out to me for that team. But I find them nerve-wracking to watch because every time they're about to kick off, you think, what are we going to get today? And I suppose you could say that about England to an extent, but with the US, it just has a most different feel to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I would say definitely those two. But Tyler Adams, he just runs everything in midfield. So I feel like he doesn't necessarily always get all the headlines. It's always, Christian Pulisic and maybe Weston McKennie and Gio Reyna. But for me, Tyler Adams is the heartbeat of that team.
Poppy Miller, CBS Sports, CBS Sports HQ, Serie A coverage, international competition coverage. Is there anything that you're not doing soccer-based at CBS Sports? No.
We're doing a bit of everything that we can possibly do, which has been amazing. It's been so much fun. I think that doing the Champions League is obviously such an incredible competition, and we always do a whip around before kickoff where we bounce around each ground just before they're about to play, and it takes me back every single time because you see the atmosphere and you see the Champions League ball in the center circle and all the players stood out there. It's just they're nights like no other. But then for me, Serie A this season and last season as well it's been incredible. We've got a fantastic group, but I have really invested now in that league, and I think it's a league that I didn't necessarily pay that much attention to growing up because it was all about the Premier League and the Championship and Champions League. But what a fun league that is, and I'm having the best time covering that.
And on your reels, by the way, if you don't follow Poppy on Instagram, she has some reels that are posted as a part of her day-to-day in Instagram, and they had you doing a dance, and I give you full credit that you were doing the dance that was requested of you in 2-inch heels. I give you full credit for that.
I have to tell you a secret about that I begged the boys to do that. I put on my Instagram, they begged me to do this, which made them even more angry. But I said to the boys in the morning, it was about 6 o'clock, and we were laughing at it on TikTok. And I said, come on, let's do it. And normally Marco Messina is always up for doing anything fun, dancing. Mike Grella takes a little bit more convincing. But I finally got, I didn't think they were going to do it. And then when we finally did, we honestly could not stop laughing for maybe 30 minutes because it was more funny to us that Mike Grella had actually agreed to do it, which we thought would never happen. But then when he saw I put it on Instagram with, they begged me to do this, that was cherry on top.
Okay, all right. So once again, just to prove that you are in fact in both video and audio, but choosing not to show your video. Go ahead and flash up real quick. There we go. Okay, so you do exist. Yes, you do exist with a Christmas tree, and legitimately, I think the Christmas tree is what's setting that whole thing off.
I know. That's what I was thinking. You know, I've got my laptop balancing on a fake present as well. I've got a great setup today.
It's all good. That's the beauty of this whole thing. Since the audio is what ends up going out later, but the video part is the best part of all of this stuff.
Okay, I'll leave it.
You mentioned Tyler Adams and Jude Bellingham. I think that matchup today is probably going to be one of the best 1v1 matchups to look at. How Tyler Adams handles Jude Bellingham from what we've seen from Jude Bellingham so far.
Yeah, I think so too. And I watched Tyler a lot actually in with Leeds United. So I see him play, and he's so impressive in the Premier League as well. So I feel like he's the one that dictates everything for the US, the tempo. He's so consistent in a team that struggles, I think, with consistency. I think he is really one of the most consistent players they have. And I also like the fact that he is wearing the captain's armband more consistently. It sounds like something like, does it really matter who's wearing it? But for Christian Pulisic, whenever he has that extra responsibility, I feel like it's more of a burden to him because he's already the face of US soccer, and he already has, everybody's eyes on him, wanting him to do well in attack and wanting him to score. But on the other side of that, I think Jude has been so impressive in the Bundesliga and in Champions League. And for two young players, they both played beyond their years. But I was so excited to see Jude get on the score sheet as well, because he was just asked by the English media before that game, oh, you haven't scored for England. And, they always have to find something, don't they, to bring them down right before the World Cup. But I know that was in the back of his mind. So to save it for the first match of the I don't know why there's so many alarms going off this morning.
Turkey's ready.
To save it for the first match of the World Cup must have been a really special feeling for him.
The home nation has scored. They're down 1 with 10 minutes to go, so we'll keep an eye on that as we go. And I think that what we're staring at here is, and I know that we're going to be spending a lot of time drifting back and forth with this particular match. There's a lot of topics on the table. I think that regardless of the result today, you're looking at a win and in situation now for the United States with the matchup against Iran for match day 3, because this one, while you'd like to have a result if you're the United States, you get a point out of it.
Do you get it? Do you think they're going to get a point today, John?
It's going to be a tall order considering the depth that you were mentioning. It's like, when you're Gareth Southgate and you've got a starting 11, which I think is going to be the same unless you change Kyle Walker and Kieran Trippier, which I don't know if he's going to do that. So, Gareth Southgate to me seems very, very set in his ways. If something's successful, I'm going to keep rolling with it until it isn't successful. I think that, when you can go to your bench, and you mentioned this before, when you can go to your bench and you can bring in Phil Foden, who I've heard is very good at the soccering. Then you could also bring in Jack Grealish, who I've heard is also very good at the soccering, or a Marcus Rashford. I mean, that's not bad when you can have that as a bench and you can sit there and go, yeah, your turn. I mean, it's almost an embarrassment of riches at times for Gareth Southgate. And I would think that at times it might even be troubling to try to figure out, who do I start in these situations, or do I just roll with what I've got?
I think so too, because especially after the last game, I mean, who did he bring on? He brought on Rashford, Grealish, who both scored. So now what do? Do you sit them on the bench, even though they just got a goal in the last game, and start the same 11? So it's champagne problems, isn't it, for Gareth Southgate to have. And by the way, I love Jack Grealish's celebration.
And the story that's attached with Finlay.
He honestly is. You just can't not smile when you're watching him talk about anything. But it's true. I'll be interested to see what lineup he goes with. On the other hand, though, I've heard rumblings of people talking about what lineup should Greg start, and I feel like that is almost the bigger question, because does he look ahead to the game against Iran, or does he roll out his very best 11 for this game against England? And I feel like you can't not put out your best 11 in this game, because it's a game of such magnitude and there's so many eyes on it. And what kind of message does that send to the team if you're kind of overlooking it? But then I'm sure it must be a bit of a thought in the back of his mind, and you have to tactically plan your way through this. But then again, England love to slip up and embarrass it. So I am not putting all my eggs in England's basket at all, because this would be prime time for us to suffer an embarrassment.
Senegal is added a third with 5.5 minutes to go. They now lead the host country by the score of 3-1. But this, to your point, the yellow card accumulation almost turns into its own subplot, because if you get the second one, then you're out for the subsequent match. And so you have a situation for the U.S. where with Dest and with McKinney, if they pick up yellows today, then they're not available for this win and in match against Iran. And you now wonder where, I mean, in theory, the match against England, if you end up losing, it doesn't matter, because once again, you're still 2 points behind Iran, and what you need to do, you need to beat Iran, and that's it. And I figured that Iran is going to take every New York subway train and just pretty much camp out in front of the goal and force the United States to try to get over the top of the L to the 7 train to make sure that they, because I mean, that's legitimate. Carlos Queiroz has gotten 3 points in the shock result earlier today. So it's just like, okay, make me, and I think that it's going to be on the United States. But when you only have those 2 yellow cards and you've got 2 players that you're wondering, okay, do I save them now? That's almost now a part of this new subplot, not just for the U.S. today while we're talking about it, but for a lot of teams down the line.
And also, injuries have been an interesting thing, haven't they? And I think everybody wasn't 100% sure how fit Weston McKennie would be and how fit Gio Reyna is. And then Gio Reyna comes out and says, no, I'm fully fit. It was just a coach's decision, which I think then ruffled some feathers.
Well, but I mean, what are you going to say? Are you going to sit there and say, no, I'm not? I mean, no, I'm dinged up. I'm not fine. I can't play. Even if you're not 100%, I mean, you were an athlete. When you were at USCB, the pride of the Sharks, you're not going to sit there and tell the opposition, oh yeah, I'm dinged up. I'm going to go out there and play.
Then why didn't we see him in the last game then? If he is, that is interesting. If he is, why didn't we at least see him come on at some point?
And I think that, I think that you're saving him. I mean, it's 10 minutes, and I understand what Greg is saying, but I think that if you're
saving him for today, though, or are you saving him for the last game?
Oh, no, I'm putting Reyna in today. For that first match, for the 10 minutes, I'm like, okay, Jordan Morris, whatever, fine. I'm saving. I didn't think that Reyna was healthy, frankly, for a full 270 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So I was cool with him not being out there for that first match, as long as I could have him for match day 2 and match day 3. Give me 90 and 90, or give me your best 90 and your best. I was cool with Reyna not being in there for the final 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. I think we'll see him today as well, but I'm interested to see how much we'll see of him and how much we'll see of Weston, because I'm not even convinced that Weston is 100% either. And especially now on that yellow card as well, it really does play a factor, doesn't it, when you're looking ahead. I just have no idea what to expect in this game, honestly, John. I keep thinking of all these different scenarios. I'm thinking England should win. Yes, we have more attacking players. We've got better quality on paper. But then again, it's such a rivalry. Even just scrolling through Twitter this morning, I was just seeing I think it was on Fox's TikTok, say one nice thing about England, and then they're struggling. Guinness is okay, and that's Irish. there's just so much going into this game that's become, such a talking point, especially the day that it's being played on after Thanksgiving. Everybody's going to be at home watching it, so I'm very nervous. I love America a lot, but today I'm hoping that we're not going to be embarrassed, or even a point for England would be extremely disappointing.
Okay, because I mean, legitimately, say you win. So if we play the math out, and we do that here, you win today, you're at 6 points. All you would then need is a result in match day 3 against Wales, who won't have Wayne Hennessy because of the red card that he picked up early this morning against Iran, and Iran went on to win 2-0, and that's created the situation that we're in. So I think that everything is in benefit of England, especially after early this morning, to where I think that you need a combination of 4 points. You need 4 points in these last 2 matches to win your group.
Do we get 3 today, though, is the question.
Or do you get 3 against a shorthanded Wales side in match day 3? So yeah. I think that you're there either way. And to your point about McKennie, I was messing around with my lineup, and obviously I had the yellow card stuff in my brain. And so all right, so let me show you. Here's my notes on the match. That's my notes on the match and everything that I'm thinking about what's going on.
Yeah.
Starting 11 with crosses out and parentheses and keys and matchups and all this kind of stuff. So I was thinking, as you were saying, we don't know how healthy Weston McKennie is. Do you start Brendan Aronson? That's what I was thinking. Once again, McKennie, still not 100%, I don't think. Yellow card accumulation, so that leads me into Aronson. Starting Reyna as a part of this as well. And so I had Robinson, Zimmerman, and Ream, who are also on yellow card danger.
You're right, yeah.
And Dest, I was kind of like, maybe you start Joe Scally here to give Dest some rest and bring him in late. Aronson for McKennie, you have to have Tyler Adams. Reyna, Weah, Pulisic, and then probably Haji Wright instead of Josh Sargent. So I had a couple of changes for this group.
Yeah. I know I could see that too. I like the change for Brendan Aronson to come in as well. I think that side is the best attacking side for the US, no doubt. The right side with Robinson, if Aronson comes in, and then Christian Pulisic as well up top. I feel like that could be a really dangerous flank that we see. But to your point, I was impressed with the US, not in the second half against Wales. I think like everybody feels that way. But in the first half, that's when I thought they would struggle. I thought they would come into the first half and the occasion would really get to them. It almost felt like the opposite. They came in, so confident. And if you didn't know that a lot of these players hadn't played in a World Cup before and they were playing against Wales, it was interesting to see how it unfolded compared to what your expectations were. In the second half, though, I wanted to see them still attack. I think they sat in too soon, too early, and let Wales really bring it to them. And then, Wales, when you've got Gareth Bale, we've seen it for years, haven't we? Wherever he's played, even most recently in MLS Cup final, where he is capable of a moment of magic, isn't he? He had that one in, where was it, in LA, and then he gets the penalty. You just know that it's going to go in. But I think that was a real 3 points lost for the US, more than a point gain for Wales. That could have been their game to completely take it to them. So today I want to see them play with that same confidence. And I think that would have boded well for them, although they dropped points in the end. that first half, there was a lot of positives to take from it.
Yeah, and I think that this has also been a point that folks are knocking Greg Berhalter on, is that he's a little slow when it comes to change. And it's like he's a little slow in his reaction time, whether it's a tactic or it's a personnel change. Sometimes he's a little slow in turning the key and getting that engine warm and making that change that can trigger something for the United States.
I really like Greg Berhalter. I know that he's had a lot of he's under the microscope, as is every single manager heading into the World Cup. I think sometimes the thing that cost the US is the management of the game, though. Like, I wanted to see them go for it on that occasion in the second half against Wales and not sit back. But then at times, the game is so open that I'm just thinking, just sit back for 5 minutes. They've got such a high tempo, high pressing style. It sometimes is, it's interesting to see in what moments they choose to do that. So that's my only questions around him, and obviously selections as well, and the players that he's brought in and leaving certain players off. I was surprised to see Haji Wright, honestly, in the selections, but I'll be interested to see him if he plays today. But then again, when you get to, we've just even said about England, you don't know what you're going to get in these World Cup games. They're one-off games. Even against Iran in that first match, you have a little sense of doubt. No way did I think it would be 6-2 in the end. So,
right. Yeah, well, and I think that
was talking about it.
Well, but that, I think that, to your point, the two that Iran scored. Now, let me ask it this way: are the two that Iran scored against England more of a concern for fans of the Three Lions than the 6 that you did score?
No, I don't think so. Not for me, at least. And also, who was it who scored? I'm trying to think. Was it Mediterranean that scored? He is fantastic. I was actually really, from watching the Champions League so much, I was really happy to see him getting on the score sheet. And one of them as well, I think it was a penalty, wasn't it, in stoppage time?
Yeah,
so
it was.
I'm not too concerned, especially when you're winning by that margin, and it could have been more as well. I think that's the other thing. You look at 6-2, but I'm not sure off the top of my head how many shots they had on target, but I can remember a lot of them that they missed as well, or a lot of shots that they had. I think their conversion rate, I was reading, was actually very good in the end, but the amount of shots that they had and the amount of dangerous opportunities that they created against a team that was happy to sit in was really impressive. Because there was moments in that game where I was thinking, there's just too many bodies in the way, and then they still manage. Saka in particular, he's so good on the dribble, he creates so much space. So I think, considering how they played and how they sat in, it was a very, very promising from England.
Okay, so here's your numbers from England and Iran. 78% possession for England, 22% for Iran, 13 total shots for England, 7 on target, 8 total shots for Iran, only 3 on target.
So England scored 6 of their 7 on target, which I feel like never normally happens.
No, and 10 shots inside the box, 90% pass efficiency on 797 passes, 2/3 efficiency for Iran. 16 interceptions for Iran to 7, 23 clearances to 4 for Iran, understandably so, 13 tackles to 12 for England. So those are your numbers.
Yeah.
Off the top of, I went to SofaScore while you were talking. I was trying to figure out
to say that's impressive.
That's the beauty of all of that. All right. So
one thing that I am concerned about is Harry Kane.
Okay.
The US's fitness. I'm very worried about Harry Kane. If he is good to go, if his ankle, it's rumored, isn't it, to be another ankle problem for him. It looks like he is going to play, but yeah, he is, for me, the player for England. Well, one player on the pitch that's healthy and ready to go, he's going to be it. So that's a little worrying.
Well, and I think that the same thing, and we were having this talk also in the first half hour, where I think that Kieran Trippier reminds Christian Pulisic that he's going to be there in his hip pocket all day. I think the same thing should happen for somebody for the United States and Harry Kane. I think that because of that ankle, you sit there and you remind Harry Kane, hey, I'm going to be right here all day, and you wave at him. Even though that if Kane can't go a full 90 or if something happens, you can still go to Marcus Rashford and Callum Wilson. So, I mean, those folks are still there. One other thing that I wanted to get into you with about this matchup before you go, Poppy Miller, CBS Sports, fantastic to finally get you. As I said, trying to get Poppy Miller is like trying to grab onto a comet's tail, or trying to sit there and try to grab water through a garden hose. You're trying to grab water through a spigot like this, and that's what it's like to try to grab Poppy Miller. But we got her the day after Thanksgiving, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we're finally reunited.
No doubt about it, because this isn't just the second half hour of the show. What is it?
Oh, it's the P block is back.
There you go. P block is back. Glad you got to remember that. Getting in behind. I think that with Luke Shaw, McGuire, and Stones, I think that the opportunity is there for the United States to get in behind with their speed. I think that could also be something that you're staring at with the United States today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, for me, what version of Christian Pulisic are we going to get? Are we going to get the brave version where he's wanting to take players on 1v1? I think the first 5 minutes of that game is going to be so telling, because we're either going to see, it's almost like a game of chess, isn't it? We're going to see if he has the confidence to get in behind, and then the team is really going to get behind him as well. Or are we going to see, because I didn't think the England back line was actually that bad. I know it was against Iran, but I had more worries heading into that game than what we actually saw. And I do think they'll be more tested today. However, I feel more confident in England's back line going into the game than I do in the US's attack. I will say the part that impresses me for the US is the outside backs getting forward. I feel like Anthony Robinson is the most dangerous player in attack going forward, putting balls in. It's almost like he's the one you've got to worry about. His late runs in, his deliveries into the box, he just doesn't stop. Mm-hmm. So I think that is going to be more interesting. Of course, everybody is going to have eyes on Christian Pulisic and trying to be aware of him and take him out of the game. But for me, the outside backs are going to cause more problems and more chaos in the box than I see the one-on-ones being.
Okay, so what's in the mug this morning? Is it coffee or tea?
It's tea.
And what kind?
English breakfast.
Okay.
You definitely can't see it on this awful camera I've got going on this morning, but I thought, shall I have coffee this morning? I said, no, today is the tea day for sure. If there's ever been a tea day, it's today.
Okay, and then rapid fire, when did you put up your Christmas tree?
I put it up November 1st.
So as soon as Halloween, you just went ahead and just took Thanksgiving and went, you're off.
In the second week, actually, it might have been November 7th, but it was pretty early.
And because there are those of us, and some of us here inside Office HD, that take it a holiday at a time.
Okay, but what do you put up for Halloween's different, but what do you put up for Thanksgiving? Some turkeys and some leaves?
There is some artificial turkeys and some orange lights that stay over from Halloween, like the orange Christmas light kind of things. And
even for Halloween, the decoration doesn't, I don't want to put spiders up.
No, I don't know. We don't put spiders up, but it's just like it's orange mood lighting, and there are turkeys and plates and things that celebrate Thanksgiving. And now that
I don't think I can't get into the turkey. I can get into the turkey tradition and the food, but the turkey decoration tradition, I'm still trying to get there with that.
And so, what's on your Christmas list?
Well, I'm going home, so that's what I'm most excited about. I'm heading back for a couple of weeks at Christmas to see my family. My sisters are actually coming here in a few weeks, so I actually haven't even thought about it. Not a lot, to be honest. I feel like that's very cliche, but I'll just be really excited to be at home and to see everybody.
And you're going to go catch a Birmingham City match?
No, I'm not going to go to Birmingham City. Got to go to the Forest, the mighty Red. That's the only game I'm going to.
So what's the deal without the sponsor? I mean, why do you not have a sponsor on the front of your jersey?
I honestly have no idea. I don't like it though. A lot of people like it and say it looks very clean. I think they look like training kits without it. But yeah. I guess we don't need it. Look at all the players that we brought in this summer. Yeah. So I mean, apparently not. It's weird though, no?
No, I actually like the fact that it's just clean. But
you like the kit? You don't think they look like training kits?
Oh, I think it looks like a training kit. I do like it. I mean, I would like a sponsor, and I'm sure that Steve Cooper would like a sponsor on the front of the thing.
You know, I would like for Christmas is Forest to not be in the relegation zone.
There you go. I was wondering because there is the running gag, there is the running joke that there will be more transfers in and out than points.
Yeah. that's very, very possible, honestly.
So,
I don't know. I think we survived, though. Again, the optimist in me is talking, but I'm glad. I'm also very glad that they renewed Steve Cooper's contract. I like to see that. Not on the same level, but it was only last year, wasn't it? Everyone was saying, Arteta out, his run has come to an end in London. We need to go in a different direction. And I'm not saying that Steve Cooper is Mikel Arteta or that we have the same structure that Arsenal have, but I'm glad to see that they've stuck by him.
So when's the first match that you're going to go see at City Ground?
I think I'm going to go on Boxing Day.
There you go.
So I don't know who they're playing. Let me have a quick look. It's the day after Christmas. Oh, actually, it's at Old Trafford, Manchester United against Forest. So
wow.
Good day out.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's your Boxing Day. So right. But at least now you're going to take pictures. You're going to do the whole thing about going home and all that, right?
Yeah, I'm sure I'll take a photo or two.
Okay. And then I got to figure out a shopping list for when you go home. I got to get all that stuff. All right. So give me the plug for those that want to follow you on social media and on CBS Sports. How do they do it?
Which, by the way, do you have a Forest scarf behind you? You have so many.
No, I don't. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Right. Yes, you have to have. Who have you got behind?
Okay. So let me take down
crazy club you've got behind you.
Probably Sheriff Tiraspol.
Wow, do you?
Yes. All right. So I'm gonna violate a TV. I'm gonna violate a tenant here for video. I'm gonna show you. All right. So
is that piano?
Here's how long my cord is. So
wait, is that a piano behind you? I can't see from that.
There's our boys, AFC Richmond, with my boy Lasso. I got that. Let's see. Let me see. Here's Sheriff. Yeah, here's Sheriff Tiraspol right here. Right there.
Amazing. What a night that was, by the way, when they beat Real Madrid. I still think it's one of the craziest nights in football.
No doubt. Let's see. Let me see. Now, since I don't have range, I will show you, the League One final, the USL League One final, all the way over there. Ukraine National, Little Rock Rangers from the NPSL, Fortuna Dusseldorf right there, Estonian national team, Mississippi Bria from the NPSL, have a couple of Atlanta United. Let's see, Greenville and that was Greenville, and who did they play? It was in the Carolinas. Greenville Triumph, and whenever they played in U.S. Open Cup. Let's see, Sacramento Republic. You're having me do this quick. Let's see, Louisiana Crew from League Two, one of our originals. Atlanta United, AFC Wimbledon when they got promoted to League One after they beat Crew Alexandra, and the Beast Akinfenwa got the PK in the end. Let's see, Tormenta, Asheville City, all of those. Oh, by the way, for scarves, shower rods. Shower rods are amazing.
Oh, really? Is that what you've got up?
Yeah, that's what I've got up. A shower rod, Greenville Liberty, MLS for St. Louis before they turned into an actual team. Oh, Shakhtar Donetsk, by the way.
You need a Victoria Pilsen one, actually, seeing as they've been a bit of a Champions League.
This is what I'm saying. So, yeah. So that is what is basic here. Oh, and the no side hustles from the NWSLPA right here.
Love that. The Forest one will be added come January.
See, and it takes a prime position. But all right, so how do they stay in touch with you and watch you and do all those things?
So I'm on Instagram at PoppyMiller3 and on Twitter at _PoppyMiller.
And so what's your prediction today?
I'm going to go 3-1 England.
Okay. All right. It is on the record.
What are you doing?
It is fantastic to see you, my friend.
Wait, what's your prediction?
Yes.
Come on, give us one.
I'll go 2-1.
To who?
England. I think England's going to win 2-1. I just think it's got too much firepower.
You think it's going to be close, though?
Yeah, I do. I think it's going to be close. I think that England gets out to a 2-0 lead, and then the U.S. gets one chasing the match, and then it's going to be a frantic 15 minutes. I
hope for a good game, honestly. That would be nice.
Yes. So fantastic to have the P Block return here to SDH.
Yes, it's so good to see you. Thank you so much for having me. And again, apologies about my camera and the light.
But I think here's the deal. I think that because you have an open curtain off your right shoulder.
It's not a good setup. I really thought it was going to be great with the shirt and the it didn't match
So I think that the incoming light off your right shoulder combined with the fuzziness with the tree. Now, so you have all these light sources coming in behind you, and it's this big cameo silhouette kind of effect. I forget which is
true.
Just
next time will be better.
Well, you could always dial in from Forest.
Oh yes, well, I'll let you know if I get to Old Trafford, because I think that's the only match that I'm going to be there for. But yeah, I'll definitely let you know.
Just dial in from Nottingham. You could just sit there and give us a tour of Nottingham.
True, that's true.
Like walk around with your phone.
At home, yeah, give you a tour of England.
Yeah, give us a tour of England while you're there. Thank you for doing this. It's fantastic to see you. Glad the P block was resurrected. Enjoy the match, even though I know that you'll be gnashing your teeth and trying to trim your nails and have about 9 different cups of your tea there with you. But Poppy, fantastic to see you, and great Thanksgiving. Just be safe and enjoy the match. We'll catch up soon, my friend.
You too. Thanks so much, John. I'll see you soon.